Hi.
Hey, Brian.
Very human
hey,
at
guys.
the end of this experience.
Thank goodness.
Y'all, we're backstage one last time. Me personally, I just, I don't know. I've had so much fun in this session. It's been so fun just taking in people's questions, riffing, like going back and forth on our different perspectives, sharing what our experience and learnings have been over the last couple of days. So this is just a treat for us.
Yeah.
This is just like, this is the cherry on top. So in this session, we will take any and all of your questions. If there are topics you want us to dive deeper on, drop them in the chat. I've actually got the chat up here on my computer so we can bubble them up, we can take them. And so while we give you a moment to get the juices flowing, let's hear just some key learnings and takeaways from the group today for our final day.
I mean, you caught us at an emotional high. I feel like it was we were at this emotional high and then it was over. We were at the change agent conversation stage panel, the guests that we had. I feel emotional thinking about their stories because they're all living out being a change agent in a really complex world that we live in right now and doing it with their own skills and gifts. And we were just talking about that. And I think there's so much power in realizing that is our title. I think we talked about the power of owning that title as a change agent, and allows us to step into the conversation and really fight for what we value most in life. And it was just really centering, and it's like a dinner party I didn't want to leave. So I feel very sad.
You know that question I ask you sometimes, who would be your dream dinner guest, alive or dead? I would have put those 4 people
exactly
on my dinner list. Yeah, I think one of the comments that's really resonating with me. Let's be honest, Becky probably needs to be muted a lot more in live, so that was probably a sign, a divine sign. But I think one of the great things that Alex Aid was talking about is one of the greatest freedoms that we have, that everybody has the capacity to give, is kindness.
Yes.
And the way that you can deliver your kindness, you're already being a change agent by leaning into that. And so you don't have to be the program director, at the Born This Way Foundation, or Tara Abrahams, the head of the Meteor, which is just a major social impact media company. If you have insights into your mission, passion, the things that you learn and know, you share them, you show up with kindness, you're already stepping forward and being that change agent the world needs.
I always tell my kids, we can only do what we can do, but at least we can do that.
There you go.
That's awesome. I grew up with Mr. Rogers, so the kindness thing always stays true to me, because you have to be kind. That's generosity. That's where we learn. Generosity begets generosity. But man, I've been just in the last hour, I know we're closing out, we had all the other sessions. The one line that stands out to me is this idea of failing forward and being a change agent. But it was in Clay, Lynn, and Barbara's session about shooting for the moon and landing in the stars. And I just thought that was just so powerful, because we're still going. We're still moving forward. We're still trying to do good. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but it still can be good.
I love that. I love that. I just want to say, Natalie, thank you so much. You've been, and Tamara.
Natalie and Tamara.
You both have just been
the goats.
So grateful.
championing us from behind the scenes. Thank you
you
all so much. And it really means a lot to hear that what we're feeling here. I have a mic.
Yeah, they're telling me it's on.
Your mic's not on.
Not working?
Yeah, turn it on. You would think it's day 3 of RNS. Brian would know.
I think what everyone's learned is we are the 2 greatest hot.
Is it muted? Is that better? Hey! Whoa, sorry. Whoa.
Hot mic.
Okay, where were we? Reel it back. No, just want to say, I think we all share the belief vulnerability breeds vulnerability. And I think a challenge for us, honestly, in the planning of this was, how do you create an experience where that vulnerability can reach through a screen, reach through a camera, and meaningfully, authentically hit in the right way? And so it just means the world that you share that sentiment. I think if I had one goal for this event, is that it doesn't matter where you are, you're not alone, and I want you to feel and experience what we're feeling.
Well, let's ask everybody in the chat, instead of telling us what questions they want, what did you take away? What are 1 or 2 things from the entire RNS that you valued, that you took away? Where you're coming in from, what organization? Just one little nugget, and let's just blow up the chat as a group.
And if you're looking for one good thing, I keep saying it, but go to Memory Fox right now. I'm like, put your story, your learnings, put them in video format. If you didn't do your hair today, like, I feel you. Like, just turn that off and just do some audio. We just want to hear your voice. We want to hear what you've learned because, again, to your earlier point, like, education is for everyone. Professional development should be accessible to everyone. So whatever you have learned, somebody else can glean from that, and the ripple can just keep going and going. Check out Memory Fox and put in a video.
Yeah. Allie Hammond, superstar behind the scenes, just dropped the Memory Fox link in the chat. So please let us know. Stacy, awesome to hear. Stacy says, this has been amazing. I was feeling burnt out and exhausted and not creative and started looking around at some marketing ideas and stumbled on this summit. 3 days later, she feels so refreshed and ready.
Stacy,
rocket.
sending you a high five.
Woo!
Woo. That's awesome.
Let's see. Tamara says that she's been working on a big grant proposal every day after the summit, and all the conversations have informed how she's actually built the story.
Ooh, and I know Tamara. I've seen
amazing.
she's a grant writer. So Tamara, you've had such good questions on the conversation stage in the last 3 days that we can literally see your growth and loved your insights. So thanks for pouring into it too.
Even if you want, Tamara, I'd love to, even if you want to drop it in the chat, I'd love for you to share, like, really practically, like, what's one learning that you had that you actually applied after the summit really tangibly? I think that'd be powerful to hear and to learn from. I'd love that. Beautiful.
So where do we go
I
from
love
here?
seeing like we call it like the podcast effect because this is kind of our day job, you know, talking to different people, and it's always fascinating that we're never in the same space and we keep having like similar conversations, and it's like those are the things that bubble up that we're like this really matters. Like people are feeling this whether you're on the East Coast or the West Coast or in Guatemala or wherever, and I felt like I had so many of those moments, which means you're around like valued people. You know,
I mean, can I share one that literally just happened? We just had this change agent panel, and we've talked about the meteor, and Tara Abrahams also works with a group called Kahani Girls, and it's a publication lifting the voices, diverse voices of women and girls. Yeah, she's one of the founders. And she, without even knowing who we were going to add to the panel, said, oh, by the way, Born This Way Foundation, Lala, we've actually featured both of your girls in Kahani. They have found us and lifted into it. We're already a part of building on each other's stories, and this story just keeps getting bigger and bigger the more that we lock arms. So we're really big into lock arms for impact. We think you can go further. Don't go it alone. Find your partnerships. Tell those stories.
so good.
I have a thought.
Okay.
Steven, when Steven has a thought,
real quick,
real
quick before your thought, I just want to let Tamara know. Tyler on our AV team is actually trying to bring you on stage. Nope.
She says her hair looks wildly weird, and I feel that.
we love you.
No worries. No worries.
Tamara, I feel that.
Steven, your thought.
Oh yeah, I had a thought. Now I forgot it. I think that it's just really inspiring when you see people showing up. Like we hatch this summit every year, and when people come, it's so encouraging. But I think showing up is like the biggest step you can take, because Tamara wouldn't have had the opportunity to ask the questions. You wouldn't have had the opportunity to learn had she not made the decision. Like, you know what, I'm going to show up today, and I'm going to learn. And now, who knows what that will trickle. It's like these little dominoes. We talk about it a lot in marketing, incremental growth. And it's like, this is just an opportunity for a spark to turn into such an explosion, and I hope that's multiplied over thousands of people. And you think about the good that can have in the world. You think about the relationships that maybe started this week, or people that reconnected who hadn't seen each other or spoken to each other in a while. Like to me, that's like I get really kind of excited about things like this, because even planning this sometimes feels like, there's so much to do, but the payoff is just unreal. Honestly, it's like giving a donation. It's like you feel it in your soul.
Well, and I'd like to piggyback on that, because I was having a conversation before this summit started this morning with one of our partners, and this has been fantastic. We have some great partners that have been sponsoring this entire RNS from start to finish to get us to be where we are. And it's different. This type of conference is different because typically when we go out to a session, we're going to have someone on stage talking to the community, a bunch of people are sitting in the chairs. No one in the chairs are talking to each other. But our community is a little bit different. We have a chat. It's live. Everyone can communicate with like Natalie and Tamara and everyone else out there. Ask the questions with the people on the stage. And it's our whole community virtually coming together.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you're able to participate in this session in our RNS, it's free because of all of our great sponsors and our partners and everyone else. So go to their booth, check them out. That's their shameless plug. But it's just so neat to be able to see all of it connected rather than just one directional.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to even put some numbers behind what does the community look like. And for context, we started this thing, 4 or 5 years ago. We used to do it twice a year from, no joke, our living rooms during the start of the pandemic. It was really raw. We maybe had 500, 750 people turn out. This year we had just under 4,000 people come out to the summit. We cannot believe how energizing having that many people plugged in and connected at once can be. Even during the backstage session yesterday, we had almost 600 people live watching the backstage conversation, just like continuing to choose in.
Noah just shared in fall of 2019, we had 297 people.
Yeah. Boom.
Wow. Of course, Noah would.
Shout out to Noah. I mean, Noah, we've got to give you some love. The Responsive Nonprofit Summit exists because of Noah. So thanks for joining us, brother. I have a couple quick things that I want to bubble up. We had some great comments come in. Nicole said, key takeaway, while likely simple, without focus, there can't be maximum clarity on results.
Amazing.
Nicole,
boom.
put that
So
on a
good.
t-shirt or a tote bag.
And
We're going on a t-shirt from this.
I don't know. Give me a fanny pack. So let's do it.
And we also had another comment. I'm new to fundraising, and this has been very energizing and helpful. I'm thinking about how to talk about fundraising. I'm thinking it's more about impact raising, which
Yes.
shout
you
out.
figured it out. That's it. She figured it out.
Okay, beautiful. We have another takeaway. One of my biggest takeaways, I was reminded in the change agent session how my approach has been informed by my grandfather. He was a World War II veteran. He used a wheelchair. He suffered from extreme trauma. And to me, he was so much more than that. That's
Tamara, thank you for sharing that. I mean, that's the power of vulnerability, power of storytelling. My grandfather was also in World War II, Navy man. And I think that this is part of the lived experience that we talked about that is so powerful because everyone has a story. We believe everybody can be a philanthropist. So if you've not felt entirely hyped up yet, come find me, Becky at weareforgood.com. I am going to give you a cheerleading experiment because I felt the energy this week. I felt the energy in the chat. I felt it in this room. And I just really appreciate the way that everyone has really grabbed on to that authenticity piece. So thanks for sharing that, Tamara.
I'd love to know, like, what other questions do you have? Other key takeaways? Like, are there specific topics that you want us to just dive in on and play with? This is a total sandbox. We can have fun with it. But Stephen, I'm going to put you on the spot because it was really fun. You returned to the stage in a session this week, which we call the Online Giving Breakdown, and you walked out of that session glowing. Do you want to just share about your experience doing that this week?
I'm happy to share about that. I've spent my entire career in online fundraising in some form or another. And, since taking over brand here at Virtuous, it's kind of put a little bit of distance between that. So I do this program, the Online Giving Breakdown, to kind of keep myself close to that. But doing it live versus just having someone send me links.
Can you explain what it is?
Yeah, so people submit their donation pages live, but they are vulnerable enough to say, will you take a look at this and tell me how to make it better? And I think when you hear that on paper, it's like, well, this guy's going to pick it apart. He's going to tell me how dumb I am. But that's not it at all. It really is just about, I'm going to repeat myself now, it's about making incremental improvements. But that is also a moment of humility to say, like, I need help. I think this can do more. And the idea that I always talk about is creating a culture of optimization.
Yeah.
And I know that's kind of a nerdy way of saying always question all your assumptions, always challenge what you think worked, what you think was the best. Because you can always do more, you can always be better. And really the causes that we support and that we work for deserve that type of attention, that type of desire to push beyond where you are today. And Gabe had a similar quote, but the quote I always use is by a gentleman named Tom Northup. And it's that every organization is perfectly designed to get the results they are getting today. And if you want to see something different, you've got to do something different. And like, I remember the first time I saw that, I think I saw it on like Twitter or something. Yeah. And it was actually right before I went on stage to give a talk. And I made it like the whole centerpiece of the talk because it's so true. Like, it's not just true for nonprofits, it's true for life. It's true for all of us. Like, everything, where we are today, where we are in this moment, it's the perfect outcome of what we did before. And so, like, it just kind of, it's almost like it's inviting you to respond. It's inviting you to be responsive because, I can actually make the path different. I can go somewhere different if I just try something different. So anyway, the online fundraising breakdown. The thing about that that is so encouraging is the way I would describe it is I see people very like there's like this weight they're carrying on their shoulder and they feel beaten down. It's like, oh, this page isn't converting, or this is so hard to do. And when I can just like give them a little piece of advice and you see that kind of like, that's the moment. That's what gets me going. It's like there's this tank that gets empty, and when I do that giving breakdown, it like fills up. It's probably the same thing that nonprofit organizations feel when they receive gifts. Like, the gift to me is just seeing people want to do better and being a vessel that helped them do that.
Well, the thing I love about that you do that, I remember you doing this 5 years ago, and I'm so glad you came back to do it again today for all of the participants, was the fact that, like, as a fundraiser, running an organization, I have other things that I'm worried about. I'm trying to put my fires out, I'm trying to put out do all this stuff, but I'm not a technologist, right? And to have you as a subject matter expert to do that evaluation, and you don't do it in a tart way, you do it in a very genuine, wanting to come out for kindness and generosity, and it just it was incredible. It was a cool session.
I think that there's a there. You know, there's a there. Like, the ethos and the mindset that you bring to the online giving breakdown, I think it's something that's transferable to the way that we connect with each other and express kindness through openness and feedback and improvement within our teams, right? It's like, how can we actually go back and find kindness and clarity and saying, hey, this is how we can be better. And it doesn't have to be something that's hard or demeaning, or right. It's like, it's just like amazing how you embody that like grace and kindness.
This might sound a little squishy. Some people can argue about this if they want.
We love squishy.
But with all but with fundraising, and I'll just say online fundraising, but I think this is true. We're not talking about right or wrong or good or bad. We're talking about learning. And the more that you try things, the more that you experiment, the more you learn about your donor base. The more you learn about the people who are going to connect with you and believe in what you believe. They're going to tell you they're going to tell you about themselves, but you have to ask. And sometimes we forget that first critical step is like, why did you give to this organization? Why would you give again? And like, as you probe those questions, the donors are there. There's nothing stopping you from asking all these people in your database, like just asking them questions. And that question doesn't always have to be, will you become a monthly donor? Will you give me $25? Sometimes it's, hey, why did you give $25? And how do you feel about that? And is there anything that we could do to help that be a better process for you? Because honestly, when people first started coming to the online giving breakdown, I think they were thinking, tell me what platform to use. Tell me like the new tip and trick. It's all about the message. Because words are what move people. And so you got to be wise and thoughtful about those words. And really, like, just constantly question your assumptions.
Stephen Boudreaux with like the best wisdom bombs, best hair like ever. So
I have a fun update. So Tyler, or Backstage AV team, we're gonna bring Natalie Monroe up onto the stage.
Is it my birthday?
So little context: Natalie, she has been besties and just cheering us on from the sidelines for years. She's the former communications director from Farmer Veteran Coalition. She's now at Memory Fox. She has more fire and passion for the nonprofit sector than anyone I've ever seen. And you are just a positive force. We love you. And I just thought, let's get you up on stage. Like, we need to like infect everyone with your energy and your excitement. So come on up and just tell us how you're doing, Natalie.
You have to turn your camera on, Natalie.
No pressure.
J-Made.
Hey, everybody. Oh, my God. You absolutely did it again. You crushed it. Like, A+ high class, like top of the line effort from everybody. So just want to say thank you. You know how much I love your team, how much I've loved you for years. John and Becky, like big hearts to you all as well. But what I actually want to put out right now is a charge to all the attendees. And it is so lovely to be among such fantastic energy, to see people just have those light bulb moments, to see things click, to feel the inspiration, and to see everybody just make so many great connections here. And so timely today, a lovely connection of mine, Dan Hanley, put out a post on LinkedIn that said, this is for everybody who's been to a conference in the last month. Conferences end, and too many times the contacts made and the knowledge learned doesn't keep going. Yep. All those notes end up in a drawer or a saved file, and those business cards and contacts added to our phones are just taking up space. Yep. So this is your reminder to take a few moments today to reach out to 2 of those people that you met at a conference, not in a business way, in a personal way. You know the people that you meet, you love meeting, so give them a call, send them an email check-in. And it just kind of echoes what I know Becky says, is our ideas are best when they're shared. So find your community, make those connections. In a month from now, in 5 months from now, you know, Virtuous is so wonderful to put on this great, and We Are for Good, put on this fantastic conference for us once a year. But the knowledge and the learning and the connection doesn't have to stop here. And it's so easy for us to just walk away and it to drop. So I am challenging all of us, put a calendar reminder in 3 months, in 6 months, in 9 months, check back in with your new connections.
Yeah.
Like bubble up a new idea that you learned, have a conversation about it. And you can do it through the We Are for Good community, a fabulous place to connect. You can do it in your continuing conversations in the Virtuous learning space. But just, I think you'll be better serving yourself if you could find a way to reconnect.
Natalie, tell people about your book club.
We are good. Let's do it.
So hosted through the We Are for Good platform, we just launched this year a nonprofit book club called We Are for Books. So if you hop onto the We Are for Good platform, you can find the We Are for Books page. And July 26th is our next gathering for our second quarter book club read. All the details are there.
Love it.
Yes, and there's actual live voting, and we're trying to get from the community what you want to read next. We just completed the generosity crisis, and with Brian Crittmans and Nathan Chappelle, who are incredibly in tune to what's going on in the sector right now. But Natalie, Evan, Jordana, Taylor, they came to us and said, "Hey, we think we need a community to talk about what's working and how do we socialize these ideas and how do we turn them into movements." So we talk about rabid fans all the time. Natalie Monroe, one of our most rabid fans, someone I am making room for at my Thanksgiving dinner. I love you dearly. And the chat shows how well loved Natalie is.
Show Natalie the love.
Thanks, guys.
As Clay said,
love you all.
There goes my book budget.
There you go.
Find more, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Love you, Nat.
I mean, Natalie, I love seeing you, my friend. It's just such a delight to see you on the screen. But what you just said triggered in me too that, I mean, I spent my whole career, I can easily step back into like the shadows in my previous life for sure. And I never would have DM'd somebody on LinkedIn that I'd never met in real life, you know? And it's like, what a shame that I had tons of questions. I had tons of people that I wanted to reach out to after going to a conference, and I was too scared, or it felt like it wasn't my position, or I wasn't in the cool club, or whatever it may be. And I would just say, like, reject that if you're feeling that in your heart. And from the amazing people that have come on the podcast, I will say from our end of things, everybody is open to connection, you know, and it's always going to catch somebody by surprise if you take a second, not to just demand, what can you do for me, but just be like, hey, this hit me in this way and I really appreciate it. And you're going to have like a friendship born out of that. And I can assure you the people that we curated on our stage would love to hear from you on that side. And so don't be a stranger, know that you belong. And thank you for that. It just kind of made me think of that.
Jean-Pierre Louis, who is in the chat, our relationship started in the LinkedIn DM. I now sit on his board. It is possible. It can happen. So please love that advice, John. And you are always in the cool club in my mind. So
Beautiful.
And we are born out of the LinkedIn conversation. So you never know what's going to come out of posting, out of connecting. And it's kind of like Clay Buck closed us out with today, that everybody is a leader, no matter your title or your space.
I love that.
Love it. Natalie, thanks so much. Thanks for impromptu coming up here. Appreciate you, friend.
Love you all.
Love you back.
Wow. What else we got?
Who wants to come up next?
Who
I
wants
love
to come
this.
up next? Jean-Pierre Louis,
JPL.
JPL's been
Oh,
joining
we
us
would
a
love
lot.
to have
You want to come up, brother?
JPL, you want to come up?
Come on, let's talk about Haiti, my friend. I love it. We can start with Bertrude. Dr. B coming on talking about Haiti. JPL can round us out.
He's coming. B, you got to introduce JPL.
I don't need to. JPL has his own presence. You're about to get some fiery enthusiasm and passion from this incredible Haitian American living in Brooklyn right now. Nice. And he is the founder of Capricare, which in the Haitian language means an act of courage. And he is pouring in on the front lines every single day into healthcare, mental health of our Haitian friends, education, resourcing them. Fabulous organization I'm so proud to be a part of. JPL, you going to
how's the camera working?
Like, can we turn off the camera? Turn on the mic. We want to see your face.
Real time.
Bottom of the screen, there should be a camera and a mic that you can click on and off. We're trying.
And if you can't figure it out, it's okay, because we're still going to share love about you, and we're still going to say, go to capricare.org, learn more, find out how you can be a light to us. I'm not doing my boardly duties if I don't say, come on, make a gift, volunteer, find a way to plug in. Let's be community.
It's saying not accessible.
Bummer.
We're so sorry.
Well, you know, JPL, we see you. We appreciate you so much. Thanks for being here this week, and loved all your comments this week on the conversation stage. Appreciate them.
Beautiful. Well, bummer. Next year, we're gonna get you next year. Yeah. We're gonna formally get you next year.
Hey, by the way, speaking of next year, we've already launched registration for RNS 2024.
That's awesome.
Go to virtuous.org/summit. The form is there, and we're ready to go.
Yeah, sign up, save your seat, ready to go. We'll be announcing dates in the weeks and months to come, and we're really, really excited. So if you had a great time, save your seat. We just dropped the link in the chat. Great call out. That's a great call out.
It's a great call out.
It's like, I built the site. Please link to the site.
Of all the call outs we've had,
please link to the site that I built.
That one as great.
That's a great call out.
Way to optimize.
All right, y'all. Well, I'm going to give one last chance. If there are any final questions, comments, things you want to share, things on your mind, let us know in the chat. And before we close up, are there any final thoughts about the last 3 days?
I feel like Tomalis has one. Come on, Tomalis.
I have a plenty, but I would probably start with, we've covered a lot of stuff, right? Like lean in, network, do some continued learning, focus on generosity, focus on kindness. But I really just want to give a shout out to the entire operations and the back office, because none of this is possible without our fantastic AV team, Barb's, Phoebes, the entire team in operations to be able to help us get
Eric
where we are.
nicknames people.
I made people with Steven. So we got some great people around us, but this is possible because everyone else behind us.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, you go first.
I mean, this is not as heartfelt, but I feel like it's a resource that we dropped that I want to share with everybody in one of our sessions. We did our series called Habits of an Impactful Fundraiser today, and was it last fall-ish on the podcast? We took 10 weeks, and we found 10 incredible people who had poured their work into being an executive director or an annual giving director, or a major gift officer. And we kind of had these kind of disruptive conversations to say, what really matters in that role? What are the key habits that you want to instill on a daily basis? Do this, not that. How do you take care of your mental health? And so this resource is there for whatever role you're at, or try to stump me. If you're in a role that's not there, we wanted to just create a piece of content that you could pour into and feel seen and supported. So whether you're a board member or whether you are a storyteller or a marketer, there's a piece for you. So the URL, Stephen, thank you for looking at me like, what's the URL? weareforgood.com/habits. And you can find it there. And we would just love to surround you and support you in whatever you're kind of wrestling through, because it's the small things. It's kind of all the things we're pointing to is like the small habits that build up over time is like how we're going to be able to do this, and doing it in community is the way. So
I'm so glad you went first, because I can just hitch my wagon to what you just said, because you teed me up nicely. It's yes, share all of that, but find community. If you want to make sure that this was not a singular experience, that the energy that you feel right now, the positivity that you feel, that charge that you want to be a change, you want to create that focus, that abundance, that joy, find your community. I certainly think that there's community here, but if you don't have one, like, come to ours, find somebody. We're at weareforgoodcommunity.com, but get on LinkedIn. Find somebody new that you really enjoyed, on a panel this week or had made a presentation. Start following their thought leadership, get in conversation with them, and that way the momentum never stops. The joy never stops. Find community. It's really going to help propel you in ways on the good days and the bad days, I would say, too.
Fantastic.
And if you're interested, we are actually launching a monthly community gathering. So if you loved what you experienced here at the Responsive Nonprofit Summit, we are launching a monthly gathering. I'm going to drop a link in the chat here. When you download this maturity model, there is a checkbox on the form that says, keep me informed about the responsive community. We'll let you know when the first gathering will be, what the date will be, and we want to reconnect on a monthly basis to make sure that we continue to ripple out from everything that was started here and that was started years ago as we move forward.
I have a final thought.
Yes.
It occurred to me just as we're all talking. I actually want to echo a little bit of what Natalie was just talking about. Because she was talking about, hey, put it on your calendar to reach out to someone you met a month from now, 6 months from now, whatever it is. I like that, but I like it because it's responsive. And we're here to talk about responsive fundraising, but fundraising just happens to be the thing that we're in the nonprofit space. We're talking about fundraising, but being responsive is that first step. If you think about the best things in your life, the best moments in your life, the best people in your life, it all started with one moment of courage. Ooh, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to get that DM. I'm going to write that note. I'm going to say something to Eric.
Got goosebumps.
Like it takes that step.
Yeah.
And sometimes that step's going to be like, well, it's going to take me 20 more steps, or it's going to take me an infinite number of steps. But the things that we're doing here today are going to require some courage. Like you have to, even showing up here for some of us feels like, okay, I'm going to be brave. Because now maybe you have some ideas and you have a boss. So you think like, well, I don't know if they'll like this idea. Yeah. Well, it's going to take some courage to be like, hey, can we try this? And if they say no, it's going to take courage to be like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about these things. Let's make, sorry, I keep going. But I think that's the first step in being responsive is one of courage. That's what I want to leave everybody with as my personal kind of just my heart beats for responsive in that way.
That's the way to end it.
That is beautiful, my
Beautifully
friend.
said.
Great.
Yeah.
So much, Stephen.
And with those words, that's a wrap on the 2023 Responsive Nonprofit Summit. Thank you for taking the first step and joining us this week. And we will be back soon. Thank you for all the great work you do. Thank you for the impact that you make, your time, your commitment, your sacrifice. And we'll see you so soon. All the recordings are available in AirMeet. So if you go back and log into the event, you can replay and rewatch any of the sessions now. We're also going to be following up in the weeks to come because we're going to be putting all the sessions on the podcast, on YouTube. We're going to let you know where you can access all the resources moving forward. We will be in touch, but thank you so much for joining us. It's been an honor and a privilege. John and Becky, thanks again for another great year.
Love you guys. We'll see you in 2024.
I love you, Kevin Kramer.
Bye, Kevin. Thanks.
See y'all.
Cheers, y'all.
Yeah.